Well, good evening. This is Dave Jones with StormCenter Communications and GeoCollaborate. This is the 6 p.m. update. It's about 6:05, 6:06 on the East Coast, Monday, September 23rd. Potential Tropical Storm 9 is looking a little bit more organized. Hurricane Hunter aircraft are flying into it and finding stronger winds, at least to the 30, 35 knot range to the east of the center. It is an elongated center, and that does mean that we're not going to see rapid strengthening over the next 6 hours or so. But the real concern is the sea surface temperatures that are very warm in the mid to upper 80s in the area where the storm is spinning right now. And you can see on the satellite imagery, it's showing some impressive convection to the east of where we believe the center is. And that means that there are strong thunderstorms developing there. We'll see those undulate throughout the night and into the morning. But the more this system gets organized, the more we will see these showers and thunderstorms wrap around the center. You can see in my cursor here, this is about where the center is. This is the coast of Nicaragua and also Honduras. Right here is the Yucatan Peninsula where Cancun, Mexico is. And to the west, we have Jamaica. And I'll zoom in here in just a moment. But you can see that this is pretty much the dominating factor right now in the Western Caribbean Sea. And it will be over the next couple of days as it gathers strength and starts to move towards the northwest. May thread that needle between the western tip of Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula. That's what a number of the models are saying, and that is indeed the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center for the center of the storm to thread that needle and go up into the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, where warm sea surface temperatures await there as well. I want to go a little bit closer and show you the 1 minute satellite imagery. I've done a couple of things here. This is from the NOAA GOES satellite orbiting 22,300 miles up in space. I've combined two different satellite channels. One is the visible and one is the infrared, and I can vary the transparency on the infrared as well. But the impressive thing that we're seeing here is this is an image every 1 minute. NOAA has initiated mesoscale operations over this storm because it's forecast to become such an intense hurricane and impact the United States. So what we're seeing here in the different colors, these are thunderstorms. The darker you see, that's the higher the cloud tops, which means the stronger the updrafts and the thunderstorms. And you see there's a cluster here and some to the south as well. So it's not very easy. This is only 12 minutes of imagery, 12 minutes, an image every minute. It's hard to see where the center might be. As the Hurricane Hunter aircraft from the Air Force and NOAA fly through this system tomorrow, we should get a better indication as to where the center is because these missions are going to be looking to see if the center is stacking. When you have a chimney where all the layers are lined up, that's when you have rapid intensification or the conditions exist for rapid intensification. If the storm is tilted a little bit, then you get the winds that are a little bit more confused and really can't work to strengthen the storm. So that's what these satellite missions are going to look at. Now, I'm going to widen out and show you GeoCollaborate here because GeoCollaborate is really an opportunity, I'll take it full, to see a combination of a number of things. First, we see the sea surface temperatures I have turned on here, and these sea surface temperatures are very, very warm. This is about the center. I can move this up just a little bit here. You can see where this is the where the depression or the system has come from over Nicaragua, but it's developing here now, and it's moved up to this location. Now the official forecast from the Hurricane Center has it drifting more towards the northwest, becoming a tropical storm during the day tomorrow, and then becoming a hurricane once it threads that needle through Cuba and Mexico. And then all bets are off for how strong this hurricane is going to get. I say that because it has a lot of potential energy, and these sea surface temperatures here, you can see that. And what I'm going to do is I'll zoom in here just a little bit so you can see where the forecast is. So for tomorrow, this is a tropical storm forecast at 2 o'clock during the day tomorrow with 50-mile-per-hour winds. This is the official Hurricane Center forecast that was issued at 5 o'clock today. And then during the evening tomorrow, we'll see this forecast advisory 2, the 120-hour forecast. That position and that intensity is going to be a little bit higher, 65 miles per hour when it's starting to thread that needle. And not soon thereafter, that's the 25th. This is at 2 a.m. Thursday morning, 2 a.m. Thursday. That's when we expect to have a transition to a hurricane. So this is at 2 o'clock on the 25th, which is Wednesday afternoon. We have an 85-mile-per-hour hurricane as far as the official forecast for the National Hurricane Center is concerned. Notice here, the sea surface temperatures don't really cool off that much. I just checked the buoy readings, and we have temperatures from 85 to 86 to 87. So the mid to upper 80s in this area, and that water is warm and deep. That warm temperature goes deep, so the hurricane won't have much opportunity to stir up cooler waters to try to weaken it a little bit. And then when we're talking about a potential landfall, this is the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center at 72 hours, which is on the 26th, which is Thursday, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, winds of 115 miles per hour, and that is a major hurricane, a Category 3 hurricane that's forecast to make landfall around the Big Bend area of Florida. Now, one of the things that I want to point out, I'm going to turn off the sea surface temperatures here because I want to point out a couple of other things. And the sea surface temperatures, there we go, I'll turn those off. But I do want to turn on the wind probabilities because I want to show you the wind probabilities for this storm. This is tropical storm force wind. Now, I kept the cone on. I didn't show this during my last update, but I kept the cone on here for right now just to show you the impacts you can have outside of the cone. This is the wind probability and the chance that tropical storm force winds will impact this part of the coastline. And they are at pretty high, above 50% from the Florida Panhandle all the way down towards Fort Myers. So this storm is going to become a very large circulation. And when it becomes a very large circulation, it moves a lot more water. That is why we have storm surge potential from Fort Myers all the way up to Tampa and St. Pete and around the Big Bend area to the Florida Peninsula. So I'm going to show you that and what the latest forecast is, the forecast impacts for this storm, which is forecast to become Major Hurricane Helene during the day on Wednesday as it rapidly intensifies. So I'm turning off the wind probabilities here. I'm going to turn on the flooding rain threat first. This is the flooding rain threat over the next 3 days. So as you can see, where the center of the storm makes landfall, we have a very high potential for flooding rain. That means we're going to see rainfall totals anywhere from 5 to 15 inches of rain as this storm comes ashore. So plan for floods up into almost central Georgia. That is what you should plan for with this storm. Now you can see the flooding rain, because of rain bands, exist throughout the entire peninsula of Florida. I'm going to turn off the flooding rain threat. I'm going to turn on the wind threat. Now look at this. This is the wind threat for Florida. I'll zoom in here just a little bit. You can see it extends from south of Cape Coral down past Fort Myers here into the Everglades and even the Keys. So in the Keys, there is a wind threat from this storm, but as we get further north, this wind threat becomes more significant. So here in areas north of Tampa and St. Pete, we could have damaging winds in this orange area and catastrophic wind damage in this area here. That is likely to expand as we see, and expand significantly as we see this storm organize, start to deepen, and become a major hurricane in the eastern part of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, these are early wind outlooks and forecasts, so if you live in anywhere in this area, including Orlando, you should plan to batten down the hatches. Bring things inside so they don't blow away. If you think about all that stuff now, you won't have to worry about it when it hits the fan and the winds start to pick up because the storm has expanded. Now I'm going to turn off, excuse me, the wind threat, and I'm going to turn on the surge threat, and I'm also going to turn off the cone. I'm going to turn off the cone. This is the surge threat for South Florida as the storm makes its way through the Florida, the space between the Florida, Western Cuba, and the Yucatan Peninsula in through the loop current. We do have surge threats, and that is of potentially local inundation with storm surge flooding mainly along immediate shorelines in this area. So this includes Naples. As the storm increases in size and intensity, this will spread to the north. This is the forecast storm surge possibilities as the storm increases in intensity and moves up west of Tampa Bay. And you can see these kind of inundation numbers are very, very large. As a matter of fact, the amount here is greater than 9 feet in coastal St. Pete and Tampa area into Clearwater and on up into Tampa Bay. Now, this is a result of the forecasts of the storm expanding in its size. And when it does that, it pushes much more water into Tampa Bay. We're going to have to pay close attention to how this changes over the course of the next 24 hours to 72 hours, because it's going to depend critically on the size of the storm and how strong this hurricane is expected to get. So I'm going to go back to GeoCollaborate here and show you right now the initial storm surge threat is down in the lower parts of Florida, including the Florida Keys. And that is going to expand upward as the storm, you can see the storm track here. I'll just zoom out just a little bit. You can see the expected storm track here to the west. The closer the storm track gets to western Florida, like Tampa, and then the wind field expands, that's going to push a lot of water onshore. And you know the areas, if you are familiar with Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, what areas tend to flood? This could be worse than what you're thinking because the storm could be so strong. And for the SISE and the All Hazards Consortium, I recommend that plans be discussed immediately for what you're going to do with regard to staging of vehicles for mutual assistance and also for evacuations. It's likely we will see evacuation orders somewhere in Florida. We do have a proclamation, a declaration of emergency for the state of Florida that the governor has issued today to prepare for what could be a major hurricane. So this is the AOML model viewer, and I'm just showing this for a moment because it's showing the track guidance is quite in agreement. There's a lot of convergence with these models showing where the storm is expected to move and where it's expected to make landfall. This is not the official National Hurricane Center forecast, although the 5 p.m. forecast is pretty much an update of what the 11 a.m. forecast has been, which sticks to this path. And you'll see that pretty much reflected in the official National Hurricane Center forecast. But what I also want to show is I want to show the intensity guidance. And from this intensity guidance, we can see there is a lot of fluctuation in the intensity of the storm and what's expected. The official Hurricane Center forecast has an intensity of Category 3 prior to landfall. Some models are suggesting way higher than Category 3. Some of these, like the HAVS-B model, is going up towards 150 to close to 160 knots, which is 180 miles per hour. We typically throw that away because it's on the higher end, but the other ones between 110, 120 knots, which is way above Category 3 into Category 4 status. So the bottom line is we just want to pay attention to what's happening with this storm as it develops. We'll give you another update as conditions warrant, and they certainly will warrant. Another update tomorrow around noontime, and then later in the afternoon. For the SISE, Sensitive Information Sharing Environment, this video is to share across all the private sector partners that you have, and for the state emergency operations centers to share across private sector liaisons, so we can make sure everybody's on the same page, looking at the same data. Remember, you can come into the GeoCollaborate dashboard at any time, 24/7, and see some of the latest information posted there. So right now, that's it for this particular update. I'm Dave Jones with StormCenter Communications and GeoCollaborate. Thanks for watching this update. We'll be back and we'll talk to you again during the morning tomorrow, closer to about noontime. Thanks for watching.